Sawadee Krap and hello, thanks for watching this DVD, an initiative of the local chambers of commerce from Belgium, France, Luxembourg and the Netherlands, and from my own company, Want to Win Executive Coaching. We've put together many practical ideas for foreigners and Thais to better understand each other, work more effectively together and enjoy it. We wish to thank the 300 ladies and gentlemen who've contributed to our survey. They represent 120 companies and over 20 nationalities. We do hope you will learn, reflect and take action from what you hear and see in this DVD to make your time at work in this great country a most rewarding career experience. Here is the menu. In the first chapter, same but so different, we assess A. What strengths and areas for development Thais recognize in foreigners and vice versa. B. What are most common mistakes foreigners do at work in Thailand that hurt their effectiveness. And C. What really matters. What are the most important management and interpersonal skills in Thais' opinion and in foreigners' view. And what are the most significant differences between their perceptions. Then in the second chapter, why? We leverage tips received in our survey and interviews to try and understand a few important reasons for differences between Thais and foreigners, differences in core value systems, in leadership models, barriers to communication and contrast in environment. And the third chapter is all about gearing foreigners and Thais with ideas, insight, advice, tips, checklist and even homework to work most effectively together. Before you go ahead with the program, may I suggest you download and print this presentation from the page download of my website at www.one-2-win.net. Hence you will be able to take your personal notes on the go. I'm glad to be your host for this program today. I am Jean-Francois. I'm an accredited and certified executive coach based in Thailand since 1998. I had the privilege to lead a Fortune 500 company for 6 years here, and I now help experienced and smart executives become even better leaders. And I am fortunate enough to serve many successful clients. By the way, why this survey? Well, a study I conducted in 2008 with the Chambers of Commerce revealed that, on average, expatriates need 13 months to become fully effective in the Thai workplace. This is often a hardship for them, for their Thai colleagues, and the cost of such a lengthy adjustment may be heavy for the employer in terms of business performance, Thai employees' motivation and turnover. So we saw a need to improve this situation. Beyond the need lies an opportunity. Effective work between Thais and foreigners can deliver great achievements and satisfaction. Listen to Alan Miu, Country General Manager for TNT, and to Hanno Kremer, the Finance Director of TNT.
The Thai employee in general, they're very hardworking. They're willing to contribute and they're willing to do the best they can.
And you have these people on board. Then basically the good thing that is everything is possible. Whereas in the Netherlands or in certain other countries like maybe Germany, France, people would ask why, why do I need to do this? Or no, I'm not going to do this. I mean, if you have this common denominator where everybody's on this same boat or same bus, if you want to call it popular, is that basically once this common denominator is there, then you can make tremendous speed and actually really achieve a lot faster what you actually would like to achieve.
Some other successful foreigners working in Thailand shared such comments as Thais have a can-do attitude and go all the way to succeed. They try their best and don't hesitate towards occasional sacrifice. They desire to please and make friends. They are incredibly loyal and they are such good fun to work with. And Thais often tell me they like to work with foreigners who share their know-how and best practice, who are creative, who deliver effectively, who enhance their exposure to the outside world, and who teach quality decision-making. A third reason for this survey is a personal one. Simply put, gratitude to my Thai colleagues who went out of their way to help me adjust and manage effectively here. We delivered together beyond expectations and had such good times. Now it's my turn to help. How did we go about this work? We sent questionnaires and we got overwhelming answers, as you can see. Then I interviewed 28 great business people, Thais and foreigners, who contributed great insight and very valuable advice to this survey. Please keep in mind the limitations of our work shown on this slide. In particular, most foreign respondents are Westerners, and most Thais have answered the questionnaire and the interviews with Westerners in mind. We still think this survey is of interest to non-Western foreigners. Also, please note, most foreigners who participated are in senior management position with heavy responsibilities and strong pressure to deliver results, which you can sense in their answers. As a warm-up and just for laughs, here are a few cartoons from Liu Yong, a young talented Chinese designer educated in Germany. He illustrates his take on some cross-cultural features, West in blue versus Asian in red. Now let's get started. 160 Thai managers from 120 companies have assessed their foreign colleagues on 49 managerial and interpersonal skills. The complete assessment is downloadable from Want to Win website. Overall, Thais have rated foreigners quite generously, comforting the slogan, "You read on taxi." Thais acknowledge foreigners' top 5 skills as English fluency, responsibility, understanding of high-level business issues, assertiveness, and friendliness. The next 5 strengths of foreigners, in Thai's opinion, are create value, sense of urgency, easy to talk with, punctuality, and honesty. A rather pleasing selection, I suppose. Now, do those top 10 strengths really matter for Thais? In our questionnaires, we had asked respondents to rate the importance of the skills assessed. And on the mapping of the importance of those top 10 strengths, you can see that only easy to talk with matters very much for Thais. On the other hand, punctuality does not matter much at all, and sense of urgency hardly makes it to the midfield of importance. Now, how about the skills where foreigners' performance is the lowest in Thai's opinion? Foreigners' 2 lowest scores go to people development. Scores on conflict management, development of personal relationship, and harmony between people are also not good enough. Do you already see the coherence here? Well, at least the interconnection between those 5 skills is quite obvious. Clearly, Thais are not quite satisfied here, as my Yim Su smiley hints. It's still smiling, but with sweat on the forehead, which reflects the effort made to keep smiling. The next bottom 5 scores go to patience, ability to motivate, to provide effective feedback, control emotion, and care for colleagues' well-being. Now, do those bottom 10 skills matter anyway? The bad news is, yes, overall they do matter. The good news is, some areas for improvement are clearly highlighted, and you are aware of them. Seriously, emotion control and ability to motivate are very important for Thais. Managing conflict well, developing harmony, colleagues' skills and personal relationships do matter very much as well. We will understand why later. For now, let's look at how the 110 foreign respondents have assessed their Thai colleagues' skills. The 5 skills where Thais are close to excellence in foreigners' opinion are politeness, very close to perfection actually, emotion control, friendliness, honesty, and hard work. Not exactly the cliché, is it? And certainly an endearing portrait. The next 5 strengths of Thais, in foreigners' view, are trustworthiness, patience, ease to talk with, care for colleagues' well-being, and management of seniority. A promising coincidence here is that both Thais and foreigners rank easy to talk with as each other's 8 strengths, and 8 is a lucky number here. Now, do those top 10 strengths really matter for foreigners? On the mapping of the importance of those top 10 strengths, you can see that only easy to talk with and trustworthiness matter very much for foreigners. Being friendly and work hard are not perceived as very important here. Now, how about the skills where Thai's performance is the lowest in foreigners' opinion? The lowest score foreigners awarded is for say what he she thinks, and it's below the not quite good enough benchmark. This signals a serious concern for foreigners. The second lowest score goes to creativity, and then we find time and priorities management and feedback skills. The next bottom 5 scores go to assertiveness, telling the truth, making decisions quickly, taking initiative, and managing conflict effectively. It is noteworthy that both Thais and foreigners don't appreciate each other's approach to conflict. Now, do those bottom 10 skills matter anyway? Again, the bad news is, yes, overall they do matter. And again, the good news is, now some areas for improvement are clearly highlighted, and you are aware of them. In particular, being straightforward is very important for foreigners. Managing priorities effectively, being assertive, saying what one thinks, managing conflict effectively, and taking initiative do matter very much too. At this point, we can see that both Thais and foreigners don't perform best on some skills that really matter for each other. We will probe deeper later on. But for now, let's move the spotlight back on the foreigners and hear about mistakes some of them have done which hurt their effectiveness at work here. We watch Kun Phongtip from Bangkok Bank, Kun Panya from Thai Asia Pacific Brewery, Heineken, Tiger and Cheers Beers, Hen Kicks from Bigwig, Rajesh Sethi from ING Life and Bruno Chavet from Mazda, as well as Kun Tuchada from Macro and Marcel Krungswijk from Royal Haskoning.
Foreigners should not criticize or scold their employees in front of the employees' subordinates or peers, because it's losing face is very important for Asian people. So don't do anything that will make them lose their face.
And they should not. They do not refer this is being done in other countries, because Thai people will feel very offended.
As a foreigner, you must try and understand and respect Thai culture as a unique culture in this world. If you don't do that, you'll miss out badly. I've been working in multinational companies where the policy was clearly we're an XYZ company from this country, and if anybody wants to work with us, no matter if they're Thai or English or American or Europeans, they gotta follow our company culture, and we don't care about the national culture. I can tell you one thing, it doesn't work.
One of the most common mistakes foreigners make is that they underestimate the need for politeness. They assume that if there are no questions, that everybody understands what they're saying. And I think the other mistake very commonly made by foreigners in Thailand is they expect professional relationships to remain professional. No, that's not the case. Personal relationships affect professional relationships in Thailand.
The first one is probably related to impatience and lack of courtesy. Wanting to go too fast, shouting, losing your temper in public. All this is very bad in Thailand.
From my experience also, that some people just copy and try to implement their experience that they have in other country, and just would like to implement without adapting into the local environment. I think that's the second mistake. And the third one, I think, I don't know whether I'm going to insult someone or not, I think is that arrogant. Some of them are quite arrogant.
Most common mistake foreigners make in Thailand is that they get angry because of attitude of the Thai people. And I feel that's mostly because of they are not aware of the Thai culture sufficiently.
From the 28 interviews I conducted, the top 10 mistakes some foreigners make are to be condescending, have an arrogant attitude or underestimate Thai's capability, publicly blame or express disagreement, rely on monetary motivation alone, compare Thailand with other countries, ignore Thai cultural values, rush to change before understanding, being impolitely too direct, using inappropriate body language, misinterpret a smile or a yes, and lack of flexibility. It's better to be like a bamboo than like a too rigid tree to avoid burnout, by the way. Those top 10 mistakes are not listed in any specific order. Now, if you are a foreigner, have you made a couple of those mistakes? What was the outcome? What would you do differently if you could go fast backward? If you are a Thai, what could you do to help foreigners understand the impact of those mistakes in Thailand? May I suggest at this point that you pause the DVD for a little while and you reflect? Now we come to a most important moment. What are the most important skills at work in Thai's opinion? First, be open-minded. Then, be clear. Listen well, make good decisions, and control emotion well. It may not be as easy as it sounds actually, as we will see later. Going forward to the next 5 most important skills, be respectful of Thai culture, be easy to talk with, motivate your colleagues, have good analytical skills, and be good at problem solving. 10 expected skills that foreigners should keep in mind at all times. Now, what are the most important skills at work in foreigners' opinion? First, express your ideas clearly, and second, be open-minded. Interestingly, top 2 most important skills are just exactly the same for Thais and for foreigners, and they are necessary for effective communication. Third most important skill, speak English well, be straightforward, and manage priorities effectively. Going forward to the next 5 most important skills, listen well, also in Thai's top 10, say what you think, be good at solving problems, also in Thai's top 10, be assertive and develop harmony between people. What is striking here is that only 4 out of the 10 most important skills are common to Thais and foreigners. A bit same, but also so different. To explore further the important differences, we identify the skills where the gap is large in the rating of importance between Thais and foreigners. It comes out that express your ideas with confidence, say what you think, speak English well, manage priorities effectively, take initiative, be straightforward, and get things done in time are much more important skills for foreigners than for Thais. Now, the other way around, make me feel appreciated, recognize achievement, control emotions well, motivate colleagues, and be polite are much more important skills for Thais than for foreigners. It will be useful that Thais and foreigners alike try and keep in mind those significant differences. To wrap up our analysis, we take a look at how foreigners perform on the most important skills in Thai's opinion. It's a mixed bag, as you can see. Clearly, some foreigners should consider improving their ability at motivating colleagues and controlling their emotions. On another note, overall, Thais don't think that highly of foreigners' quality in decision-making. A question is, are some decisions truly inadequate or ill-explained? And finally, how do Thais perform on the most important skills in foreigners' opinion? It's a mix of good and not so good scores again here. Certainly Thais should explore and discuss with foreigners what could be done in the workplace so that it becomes easier and safer for themselves to be more straightforward, assertive, and say what they think with foreigners. Clarifying a foreigner's expectations on priority management and problem solving should also be useful. May I suggest you take a few minutes to think through the results of our survey, identify what's of interest to you personally, and how you could leverage information here to gain further effectiveness at work? Our hope is that with a bit of knowledge on those issues, you go and talk with Thai or foreign colleagues to explore in more depth, learn, reflect, and take actions to bridge the gaps. Hence, you have a great chance to play together and not alone. After the review of our survey results, we are now going to try and analyze differences in core value systems and leadership models, barriers to communication, and contrasts in environment. First, how different are the core value systems? Very different, and this is a beautiful yet complex and intricate subject.
The things that I recommend for foreigners that come to work in Thailand is to understand the true culture, the true core value system of Thais, how we're motivated, how we're raised as individuals, how we're taught to behave as adults. And I think foreigners who invest the time and the effort to understand the true Thai core value system allows them to work much more effectively in a Thai business environment. One example is the use of KPIs or key performance indicators to measure someone's success. Oftentimes in a Western business environment, KPIs will be set at a corporate level and handed out to employees across all the lines of businesses. What many foreigners don't understand is that doing so in Thailand doesn't work as effectively because Thais are not as motivated by money as colleagues in other Western countries. So to be more effective, we have to understand what motivates Thai people, what makes them tick, and how we can motivate them in the right manner by understanding their true core value system. What that means is that to manage effectively in a Thai business environment, you have to understand that most of your team members have a very strong concept of family, which means that you really have to emphasize the relationships, getting to know each of your team members on a one-to-one basis. Investment in the relationship, investment in how they're doing, how their family is doing, what pets they have, what are their hobbies. These are the things that will help you bridge the cultural gap from being a foreign manager to working very effectively in a Thai company. One of the things that is very important, and one of the things that I tell my staff and other people who work in Thailand, is that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Let's stay simple about it. First, I'd like to suggest a little and useful homework to foreigners. Print this page and ask your Thai colleagues to explain these 6 important words in Thai culture: Kreng Chai, Samruam, Haikiat, Bun Kun, Nam Chai, and Hen Chai. A bonus question is, how different are Kreng Chai, Nam Chai, and Hen Chai? To simplify abusively, but make it easy to remember, one may say that achievement is the most important value at work for foreigners in Thailand, whereas nurturing good relationships is the most important value for Thais at work and in general. Consequence for foreigners, they tend to be goal-oriented and accountable, analytical, critical, creative, straightforward, assertive, take initiative, and they strive for effectiveness, doing the right things, and efficiency, doing things right. On their side, Thais will focus on caring for each other, giving face, avoiding conflict, staying humble and composed, keeping bad feelings inside, showing respect, especially to hierarchy and seniority, and they will be contented if work offers them the great feeling of an extended family. To go beyond those abusive simplifications, may I recommend that foreigners read an overview of the authoritative study conducted by the eminent Thai Professor Komin, who has identified the 9 fundamental traits of the Thai national character listed on this page. You can download a few pages of that overview with the internet link provided here.
Thai culture, the main trait of Thai culture is compromise. And this comes from Buddhism. And also very, very strong respect of hierarchy. And this is a heavy weight coming from the social history of the country. And those fundamental elements are taught since school, since childhood. And so we are not going to change them as a foreigner. We have to adapt to those facts, not them to adapt to us.
The fact that they evaluate, under-evaluate the importance of the seniority system in a Thai company. And they don't give enough credit to the fact that the Thai employees among themselves have a very heavy code of conduct and behavior towards one another, not only due to the age, but also due to the academic performance and the career.
Moving on to leadership models, with yet another oversimplification, one could describe the prevailing Western leader as mostly participative, respected for vision, knowledge and wisdom, and exercising authority on the basis of rules and regulations. The Western boss is usually not perceived as that much higher above the other employees. It's a different picture in Thailand, where the boss is really considered as much above the rest, commanding a lot of respect. To feel the amount of respect Thais have for a good boss, foreigners could imagine the level of respect and even shyness they would feel for the president or minister of their country. Traditionally, the Thai boss is deemed as rather directive and truly caring, exercising a mix of pradet and prakun. May I invite foreigners to discuss those two terms with their Thai colleagues? Where a good Western-style leader gets respect, the good Thai leader gets loyalty for his power and care. His or her authority is based on relationships and seniority. Kun Patara Yongvanich, the managing director of SAP for Thailand and the Philippines, shared this great insight with me. In Thailand, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Really great food for thoughts.
But what I find is that Thai people work for people. They like to work for big companies, they like to work for big names, but in the end they'll go through fire for all the people. And I think that's a key issue which you will not find anywhere else in the world anymore.
Now let's move on to communication. Foreigners sometimes find communication a bit confusing in Thailand. And just for laughs, look at the two signs around this intersection, which forbid a left turn. Now look closer. One says forbidden left turn, no car. The other one says forbidden left turn, only car. Is it contradictory? Or are both saying left turn forbidden to cars only? And a bit of effort is enough to find out. At least we have to appreciate that English translation is often attempted here in Thailand, which is rarely the case in other countries.
It is sometimes important to be aware that Thai people don't think, don't reason, don't reflect in the language that we're using with them. It's not because Thai people say yes to an assignment, to a question, that they understand it. It sounds completely contra-intuitive for a foreigner, but Thai people sometimes feel that it's more easy to get the problem over with, to give the impression to the manager that they understand, that they are clear about the assignment, but it's not the case.
I should pay more attention to the feeling of your counterparts. If they are ready to accept or to follow your idea. Sometimes when they say yes, it may not be exactly yes that you understand. So you need probably to pay more attention whether really what you mean is really understood.
What are the barriers for a Thai person to communicate her or his ideas to a foreigner? Barriers? Well, there are quite a number of them. English fluency. Can I translate properly what I want to say? Clarity of thought. Have I clarified my ideas enough yet to communicate them? Self-confidence. Am I sure my input is that worthwhile for the others? Respect for seniority. Am I in a high enough position here to express myself? Humility. Will others perceive me as arrogant or over self-assured? No urgency. Can I wait for a more comfortable moment? Fear of rejection and risk to intrude or embarrass. So, to speak out or not to speak is quite a question really, with even more barriers in Thai context. May I suggest you discuss this with your colleagues and friends? There are many important differences between Western countries and Thailand that have a significant impact in the workplace. Here we just name a few for your consideration. First, on the labor market, to put it simply, it's not as difficult to find a job in Thailand as it is in most Western countries. Therefore, Thais who are unhappy with their work environment will not hesitate so much to resign and look for another opportunity. Another common reason for Thais to resign is to follow a boss to whom they are loyal in another company. Also, leaving a company to take better care of their parents is quite frequent. Even a generous compensation is less likely to retain Thais than Westerners. So, making the workplace a pleasant extended family and nurturing loyalty are two really important retention factors. The Thai and Western education systems are still very different. The Thai system will emphasize memorization more than critical thinking. Also, nationalistic pride is consistently nurtured. And relatively little is told about other countries in schools, universities, and the media. That does not motivate Thais to discover much about the outside world, and only a small number of Thais travel extensively abroad. Hence, references to what's going on or what is done in other countries will not necessarily impress Thais very much. And now let's listen to Khun Prakon, Chairman and CEO of Philips in Thailand, on another very important topic.
You must, when you start your new job in this country, I recommend that you have one-on-one session with your direct report. It takes maybe 30 minutes. Not too much on the work, but to understand each of the person. Yeah, how is their background, what they like, what they don't like, what they feel that they feel interested or not to work in the current situation, what they think the company should do, what they think the manager should act. And if you do one-on-one session with each of your managers, after maybe a week, you understand much more your team, and you understand much more what are the priorities that you should take in the next, let's say, 100 days.
The last point in our quick overview of factors of differences between Thais and Westerners is conflict management. We have seen before that Thais and foreigners don't quite appreciate each other's way of managing conflict. No wonder! Foreigners will often embrace conflict as an all-out discussion to clarify issues and move forward, whereas Thais will be careful to minimize damages to relationships. To use an image, a Western-style conflict might be highly electric with occasional thunder and lightning, whereas conflict in Thailand will appear much softer, more like a cloudy sky with still a few rays of hope and courtesy all along. To continue with our weather comparison, after conflict, Westerners usually appear to hold no or little bad feelings. The sky is blue again, whereas the sky might stay a bit grey for Thais who are likely to keep bad feelings inside. We'll hear advice on how to handle conflict from our interviewees later on. Let's now move to the last part of the presentation, which proposes advice and checklist for you to consider as you decide your way ahead. First, we suggest that you download from Want to Win website a self-diagnosis checklist with 10 questions to assess where you are and the way to go to be fully effective in cross-cultural work here. 10 questions for foreigners. All you have to do is grant yourself a score between 1 and 4 for each question, and then see your total and the remarks that come up with it. Then reflect and take actions. If you are a foreigner, may I suggest you pause the DVD and take a good look at those 10 questions. 10 questions for Thais with the same instructions. If you are Thai, may I suggest you pause the DVD too and take a look at the questions. The road towards full effectiveness in cross-cultural work in Thailand is likely to encompass a few sharp curves. Before you drive forward, we suggest you reduce the speed a bit and listen to the finale of this presentation, where we feature excerpts from interviews of great business people here. After which, we recap top 10 advice for foreigners and top 10 advice for Thais. Here are a few good words from foreigners first.
Foreigners come to Thailand and sometimes try to change the world. I think is a critical mistake we make as foreigners, to be inflexible and don't make enough effort to adapt. So the recommendation I have is to really come and flex yourself, work very hard to adapt yourself.
When working with Thai, I think it's very important to pay a lot of attention to build confidence, to build trust in you as a leader. They will accept you as the boss and they will try to please you from the beginning, but to get real trust, it will take, at least in my experience, 6 months or even more. And this is sometimes forgotten if you come in and you want to quickly get into action, that you sort of think you can leapfrog that period, and that will cause a lot of trouble later on. But it is very important as being a leader or a boss not to do it all yourself because you think it's more quick, but to really help to coach your colleagues and teams and to make them own the issues, because in the end they will be the only ones solving.
That work is better done, easily done, and gets done faster if you first spend some time to understand and know your Thai colleagues. Building that personal relationship platform is always useful when you want to get things done and get things done in your way. A lot of high flyers, a lot of people who have achieved a lot elsewhere in the West or outside Thailand come here with a very different attitude. Let's get things done fast, and then they find they hit a wall. So my advice is spend time, get to know your Thai colleagues, and you'll get a better result.
Sometimes, us foreigners, we don't pay attention to personal relationships. It is very important in places like Thailand to truly, genuinely invest in personal relationships. Thai people will know if it's genuine, so it really has to come from the heart. It does make a big difference, so we cannot be purely focused on results. Be very clear with communication. It's not always what is said, but it's what is heard. It's very important that we verify for clarity of understanding.
In Thailand, you need to earn respect. That is clearly number one. Number two for me would be always involve your management team, and mainly they will be Thais. And number three, share your success with your staff. And you can do that with small things. It can be recognition, awards, team building sessions.
When you deal with Thai people or Thai staff, you have to work like a friend. And if you can buy their heart, they will work it for you for lifetime.
So what I would say is, don't be the teacher. If you teach, it might work in the other way. I think it should be coaching. Give the Thai their own chance of developing their own knowledge and develop their own sense of urgency instead of trying to tell them exactly what to do.
Because we heard about the old saying, anyone get into Rome, you got to do like the Romans do. That apply to all cases. Like for Thailand, we are kind of people are very humble and gentle. We can take a very straightforward kind of message and feedback, but the way to work with us, you got to understand a bit more how to deliver the message in a very nice way.
As I say that Thai people, they are afraid of foreigners. So it's better if they feel more comfortable to discuss with you. So if you are easy or open to talk with, then they will be very happy to discuss with you. And the third is that you have to be open-minded. Is to listen to them, to understand, and to give them some room for discussion.
And we underestimate them, and it's not very nice, and they don't take it nicely too. So we need to be a bit more humble, try to understand their ability, support them, but never underestimate them.
When the Thai people smile at you, doesn't mean they
accept you or doesn't mean they agree with you. Sometimes it's just that one of the expression. And thirdly, foreigners sometimes being too direct, which is not very common for the Thai. Sometimes you just have to go around it and just to get your point across.
Clearly communicate your values. Values is something very sensitive, and once it's not get along or misunderstanding, that will create a very critical situation. I'm talking about the value that we experience that Thai people might not be take it as important, like punctuality, like something like the truthfulness. A little lie, they might think that it's okay, but if it's your value, you have to tell them.
The last point will be, I think, to speak Thai. ถ้าคุณพูดภาษาไทยได้นิดหน่อยครับจะช่วยเยอะ
The most important, you have to deliver the result and contribute to the company that you are working at. It's not holiday. You have to contribute to make it happen.
Okay, I just have one main advice, which is for foreigners in Thailand, but I think everywhere in the world. We are guests here, so I do believe this is our role and responsibility to try to understand them first, rather than asking them to understand us first.
As a summary of the interviews and the tips contributed to our survey, here are the top 10 advice to foreigners. Trust and respect first. Earn trust and respect. Care and invest in personal relationships. Build up your extended family at work. Don't rush. Open your mind, listen, learn, adapt, then act. Share your values, clarify priorities and your expectations. Create safe and friendly atmosphere at work. Never lose self-control. Ensure clarity of understanding, yours and your Thai colleagues. Probe beyond a yes or a smile. Develop and coach your team members. Involve your team as much as possible. And deliver visibly and with humility. Now, let's listen to advice in Thai language for our Thai colleagues. If you do not understand the language yet, please move on to the 50th minute.
คนไทยชอบพูดได้ค่ะได้ครับนะคะ say yes easily นะซึ่งอันนั้นเนี่ยฝรั่งค่อนข้างถือคือถ้าคุณบอกว่าทำได้ใช่รับปากแล้วก็ต้องทำนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นถ้าไม่แน่ใจถามสักนิดนึงว่าคอนเฟิร์มกันสักนิดหนึ่งตกลงอยู่จะเอาอย่างนี้เมื่อนี้ใช่หรือเปล่านะคะแล้วค่อยบอกเขาว่าทำได้หรือไม่ทำได้หรือทำไม่ได้นะคะ
เวลาทำงานกับต่างชาติเนี่ยเราต้องรู้จักพูดนะคือถ้าเห็นด้วยไม่เห็นด้วยนี่ต้องพูดให้ชัดตบโต๊ะบ้างเป็นบางครั้งก็ได้เพราะว่าเขาไม่ถืออะไรใช่ไหมไม่เหมือนกับเวลาทำงานกับคนไทยต้องระมัดระวังคำพูดต้องอะไรเวลาเขาถามอะไรนี่เราต้องตอบทันทีเราต้องมีไอเดียต้องรู้ว่าอะไรคือปัญหาอะไรคือคำตอบนะในการที่นิ่งเฉยๆเนี่ยมันไม่ช่วยอะไรเลยเข้าใจว่าเราไม่รู้ซะมากกว่าเพราะฉะนั้นอันนี้อย่าไปกลัวฝรั่งอย่าไปกลัวคนต่างชาติเวลามีอะไรก็พูดออกมาเลยไม่ต้องไปกลัวเขานะฮะ
คุณควรจะพูดในสิ่งที่คุณต้องการพูดไม่ต้องรอนะครับหลายครั้งในการประชุมที่คนไทยเงียบฟังนะครับซึ่งทำให้ฝรั่งเนี่ยเข้าใจไปแล้วว่าคุณยอมรับดังนั้นคุณก็ควรจะพูดในที่ประชุมนะครับแล้วก็ถ้าคุณไม่เข้าใจนะครับก็ควรจะถามณเวลานั้นไม่ต้องรอนะครับแล้วก็ต้องการในสิ่งที่ต้องการครับ
เมื่อมีโอกาสที่จะทำงานร่วมกับเขาเราควรที่จะหาประสบการณ์จากเขาหรือบางข้อที่เราคิดว่าเราเนี่ยยังไม่รู้เนี่ยก็สามารถที่จะให้เขาเนี่ยแนะนำเราได้นะครับเพราะฉะนั้นในเรื่องต่างๆเนี่ยคนที่เป็นคนต่างชาติเนี่ยถ้าเรามาดูเนี่ยก็คือว่าเขานิยมที่จะไปประจำอยู่ประเทศนู้นประเทศนี้เพราะฉะนั้นประสบการณ์จะมีมากกว่าเรา นะครับเพราะฉะนั้นเรื่องต่างๆเราสามารถที่จะเรียนรู้กันได้นะครับเป็น2เรื่อง
สิ่งที่เขาอยากมองเห็นก็คือการที่จะคุยกันนะครับถ้าเกิดเรามีปัญหาเราควรจะอธิบายปัญหาให้นายของเราฟังตอนปัญหามันเกิดขึ้นไม่ใช่ถึงจุดหนึ่งที่เราแก้ปัญหาไม่ได้แล้วค่อยอธิบายให้เขาฟังว่ามีปัญหาอะไรบ้างแล้วทำไมเราแก้ไม่ได้แต่สิ่งที่เขาอยากได้ยินก็คือการที่เราทำธุรกิจทำงานวันต่อวันปัญหาเรามีอะไรบ้างแล้วควรจะมีไอเดียไหนที่จะช่วยแก้ปัญหาได้จุดที่3นะครับก็คือสิ่งที่ผมเรียกว่าเป็น knowledge sharing ซึ่งผมมองเห็นว่าบางทีการที่เป็นคนไทยเรามองเห็นว่าผลประโยชน์ที่เรามีต่อบริษัทของเราก็เป็นความรู้ของเราซึ่งบางทีน้อยมากที่จะแชร์ความรู้กับคนอื่นในบริษัทซึ่งถ้าเกิดมีผู้บริหารที่มาจากต่างประเทศเขาจะมองอีกมุมหนึ่งเลยนะครับเขาจะมองเห็นว่าการที่เรามีความรู้แล้วเอาความรู้ของเราไปแชร์ให้คนอื่นในทีมของเราในบริษัทของเรานี่เป็นสิ่งที่จะช่วยให้เรา contribute ให้บริษัทได้มากขึ้นเพราะผมก็มองเห็นว่าการที่คนที่อยู่ที่บริษัทนานที่สุดการที่มีความรู้มากที่สุดนี่เป็นจุดแรกในการช่วยให้บริษัทประสบความสำเร็จได้สิ่งที่สำคัญกว่านั้นก็คือเอาประสบการณ์ของเราแชร์ให้คนอื่นในบริษัทเพื่อเรียนรู้จากเราแล้วก็สร้างทีมขึ้นมาเพื่อมีทีมที่จะแข็งแรงพอที่จะช่วยเราทำหน้าที่ของเราได้ดีขึ้น
I give you example of foreigners in a meeting they will react very openly very straightforward in a different opinion and they will debate very heavily in the meeting but after the meeting finish and we are all friends in Thai culture this is not maybe very much accepted because they would feel that you do not respect me in a way so these are the major differences I see in culture of people foreigner and Thai which we have to adapt and understand
สิ่งที่สำคัญในการทำงานกับคนต่างชาติเนี่ยเราต้องแสดงความเป็นมืออาชีพให้มากที่สุดเขาก็จะรู้สึกว่าเขานับถือการทำงานของคนไทยเหมือนกันไม่ใช่การทำงานด้วยความผูกพันความสัมพันธภาพอะไรเงี้ยไม่ใช่แต่ใช้มืออาชีพในการพิสูจน์ให้เขาเห็นว่าเราสามารถทำงานกับเขาได้มีประสิทธิภาพมากที่สุด
ข้อที่2ก็คือว่าถ้าพูดเป็นภาษาอังกฤษก็คือ do what you say and say what you do นะเพราะว่าบางทีชาวต่างชาติเขาไม่เข้าใจเพราะเราเนี่ยเราเติบโตมาในสิ่งแวดล้อมแล้วก็วัฒนธรรมที่เราต้องเชื่อฟังผู้ใหญ่เพราะนั้นบางครั้งเนี่ยเราจะไม่แสดงออกแล้วบางทีเนี่ยเราไม่เข้าใจเราก็ไม่ถามหรือบางทีเราทำอย่างพูดอย่างไม่ได้หมายความว่าเราไม่ดีนะคะแต่ว่าเราควรจะพูดในสิ่งที่เราทำแล้วทำในสิ่งที่เราพูดนะคะ
เราต้องพร้อมที่จะต้องเทคในส่วนของคอมเมนต์หรือฟีดแบ็กซึ่งอันนี้เนี่ยเป็นสิ่งที่จำเป็นที่จะทำให้เรา improve ตัวเราเองซึ่งมันเป็นส่วนหนึ่งที่เราเองคงจะต้องเรียกว่าอะไรคะเจอกับความท้าทายอาจจะเป็นคอมเมนต์อะไรที่ค่อนข้างยากแล้วอาจจะไม่เป็นสิ่งที่เราอยากรับแต่เราคงต้องรับตรงนั้นแล้วก็เอาไปนำไปปฏิบัตินะคะอันนี้นี่คือส่วนหนึ่งที่เราอาจจะต้อง be more open ไม่ใช่ว่า reserve เหมือนสมัยก่อนอย่างที่เราเคยเป็นมาในอดีตนะคะ
แล้วอันที่2เนี่ยที่ผมคิดว่าถ้าเราทำอะไรผิดพลาดแล้วเราควรที่จะยอมรับความผิดพลาดเพื่อหา solution ที่ดีนะครับกล้าพูดเกี่ยวกับสิ่งที่เราผิดพลาดไปเพราะว่าทางคนฝรั่งเขารับได้นะฮะถ้าเราทำผิดพลาดแต่เราทำผิดพลาดแล้วอย่าไปเก็บไว้เราควรจะแสดงออกเพื่อให้เขารู้ว่าอันเนี้ยเราทำผิดไปแล้วเราจะแก้ไขอย่างไรนะครับ
การทำงานกับชาวต่างประเทศเนี่ยก็เป็นโอกาสที่ดีเพราะว่าทำให้เราเนี่ยหนึ่งก็คือได้ใช้ภาษาต่างประเทศนะแต่ว่าที่สำคัญกว่านั้นก็คือว่าได้เข้าใจถึงวิธีคิดวิธีการทำงานวิธีการแก้ปัญหาวิธีการกำหนดกรอบของการทำงานเนี่ยที่เป็นอาจจะเป็นระบบอีกระบบหนึ่งซึ่งถ้าเราเข้าใจสิ่งเหล่านั้นเนี่ยเราก็จะทำให้เรามีความคิดเห็นความรู้ที่กว้างไกลขึ้นเพราะฉะนั้นการที่ได้มีโอกาสทำงานกับชาวต่างประเทศจะเป็นชาติไหนภาษาไหนเนี่ยผมคิดว่าก็เป็นการเปิดหน้าต่างทางความคิดทำให้เราเนี่ยสามารถที่จะมองอะไรได้ลึกซึ้งมากขึ้นและเข้าใจโลกได้ดีขึ้น
As a summary of the interviews and the tips contributed to our survey, here are the top 10 advice to Thais. Dare to be straightforward with foreigners. Don't be afraid. Say what you think, say what you want, say no when you disagree and explain why. Inform about problems quickly, be transparent, and do what you say what you do. Question foreigners when their expectations are not clear or relevant. Don't compromise beyond your beliefs. Don't commit before you're sure to deliver on time. Be bold to admit your mistakes and come up with a way to solve the problem. Be creative, dare to think out of the box. Teach and learn from foreigners. Be priorities and result-oriented and accountable. Deliver on time, no matter what. Prepare yourself for negative or tough feedback from foreigners. And be punctual. Don't forget that 888 tips have been collected from the questionnaires we received. We recommend that you download them from Want2Win website and read them bit by bit, maybe one in the morning and one at bedtime. We are done with the advice and the tips, so now what? We propose 5 easy steps to improve your effectiveness at cross-cultural work. And first, we suggest you watch all interviews in our DVD. I know there are many, but each one offers different advice and tips. Second, share and discuss this presentation and the DVD with your colleagues. Third, download and complete your self-diagnosis questionnaire, reflect on your way forward, and take actions. 4 is extra homework for foreigners. Ask several Thai colleagues and friends to A. Explain about Kreng Chai, Samruam, Haikiat, Bunkun, Nam Chai, and Hen Chai. And B. Ask them to teach you the 3 whys. And finally, don't wait. You've learned, you've reflected, now do take actions. Embrace effective cross-cultural work with passion to make it a career highlight and a wonderful experience for yourself. Chokdi! This last picture shows lit up Komloi flying towards the sky, a wonderful Thai tradition to nurture love and bring good luck. And that's what we wish you, while remaining at your disposal to share more and help you perform and enjoy cross-cultural work in Thailand.